guarantee the results of any investments made by a listener to this program.
This is The Word on Wealth with Gary Quackenbush of GQ Law. Gary is a San Diego financial solutions attorney, protecting people like you. The Word on Wealth team of financial experts is here to answer your questions and help preserve your family's financial future. Now,
you're live.
Happy Friday and welcome to The Word on Wealth. Today is the day where we get to find this. Wow, we're going to go into the, I don't know, we're going to go into the back. Oh, what am I doing? Okay. Hey, Noah.
Yeah, a little bit of a technical snafu there, but we will fix that here momentarily. Now, the real host of The Word on Wealth this fine Thursday, Gary Quackenbush.
So it's not Friday. Hey, guys, have you ever wondered what it's like to talk to an active financial advisor, a real professional, rather than just somebody that says, I belong to a big organization and we're going to check on you quarterly? Well, we have cornered here on this show, we have Anthony Wright. He's my friend. He's a professional. He's actually my professional financial advisor. And that being the case is not the reason he's on with me, other than the fact that I trust him. I love the information that he gives me. He's helped me personally. He's helped my family, and he has helped a lot of clients of mine. And for that, I really appreciate it and get really excited when we can have Anthony on the air. So Anthony, thank you so much for being with me on the air today.
Well, thank you for having me, my friend. It's always good to talk to you. Good to be on the air with you, and hope you had a good trip. I know last week they played a rerun for us because you're a good family man and you were having some good time with your family. So welcome back, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you throw at me today.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I do want to say that I signed up for your free book a long time ago, and then it did the download. I decided to print it out in a like a booklet format, which is really cool, all color pages and stuff like that. And I wanted to say, I know you talk about a lot, hey, get my free book. And a lot of times with the free book, it's like, whatever, what's that going to tell me? You guys, his free book is very interesting in that it helps you understand what we are talking about when Anthony says faith-based investing. We did a seminar together, Anthony and I did, and I had somebody ask me, said, well, that just seems stupid. Why is faith and your money, how could they have to do with each other? You make money, you have faith, church, money, that they shouldn't even mix. And it honestly shocked me that somebody would have that kind of attitude, because to me, there's no difference between the two. I mean, I either act like a good Christian in all that I do, whether it's my investments or what I'm involved in, or I don't. And I really think that sometimes we believe that just because I own stock in a company and now I'm getting dividends, it's making me money, that it doesn't matter what that company does with their money. Now, I understand you invest in, Apple, for example, and you think, oh, well, it's a good company. Everybody likes Apple. But then you look at, but what is my money contributing to? Making good phones, making good this, making good that. Also, all the other stuff that the company pays for and supports and pours money into, that if you knew about it, you would probably go in the back room and vomit. Because some of the stuff some of these companies get involved in, it's like, if I don't know how to say it. It's almost like if you had a stock and it said you're investing in XXX porn company, you'd go, oh my gosh, that's disgusting. Why would I ever do that? But then a friend of you goes, dude, I'm into that stuff and I'm making bank. It's doing huge money for me. And you'd be like going, are you kidding me? That's horrible. Why would you do something like that? Well, it's just money, man. And when I looked through the faith-based investing book, and what I started to realize, you guys, when you invest money, you are literally putting your money where your mouth is. You're putting your money where your faith is. And whether you are God-fearing Christian or not, if you're just trying to be a good person, would you cruise the strip and participate in some of the black or pink activities that go on there? No, you wouldn't. Well, then why would you invest in a company that supports that stuff? So I guess to me, it took me a while, Anthony, sorry, to get the vision and your passion, but I get it. I really do. And it helped me in getting your free book and understanding that. So you guys, anybody that wants a book, there is literally no obligation. They're not going to come and visit you at your home. Although I'd love Anthony to visit me at my home, but you go to BibleSafeInvesting.com. It doesn't check and say which version of the Bible you're reading and how often. It really doesn't. It really is a free book. And it's, what is it, like 30 pages? I don't know, I've got it right here in my hand, but it really explains the Bible safe investing concept, 51 pages. And I love it. I feel just really good about having Anthony handle a bunch of my money, and that the investments, and it's funny. I'm not trying to do a sales pitch. I'm just trying to tell you guys, when you invest your money, it really feels good to do it in the right place. Okay. All right. So I got to let Anthony talk. Anthony, what's going on? The mortgage rates are going up and down, maybe going up, maybe going down. What is happening kind of in the basic, investment equities market right now? How is it looking?
Well, it's looking good on a lot of the faith-based
2 minutes
that we're in. I mean, some of our stocks right now are up 102%, 104%, 83%. So on the faith-based side, we're looking really good. On the other side of things, so to speak, on the worldly side of things, there's some turbulence in the stock market because they don't know what the Fed chairman's going to do. He does say that he's going to raise the rates 1/4 point. Now he says you may go up 1/2 point. So, people right now that are getting mortgages for their home, they're paying 8.5%. So you're looking at rates up over 9% if he does indeed raise those rates. And that's going to be something that we haven't dealt with in years, since interest rates were that high just to get a loan. So that's what's kind of driving the fear in the market, and that's what's been driving it down. But as you've pointed out many times before, just because the market is down doesn't always mean that it's down in the faith-based side, because
1 minute
stocks that we deal with, some of them are not involved in that market fluctuation. So we are involved in other stocks. Now, it might come down a little bit because of the index that it's in, but most of them stay, pretty steady and ahead of things.
So I want to, Anthony, with that great explanation, what I want to do is I want to ask you a little bit, just kind of a couple specific questions that I have. So mostly I want to ask about defensive stocks, because I know we talked about your defensive investment strategies. So I want to talk more about active investment strategy and what does that really mean, and relate that to risk tolerance and also your defensive stock. And is that necessary right now? And then we got lots to talk about, you guys, about rates going up and down and how that affects this thing. You're listening to The Word on Wealth with Gary Quackenbush and Anthony Wright. His number is 931-RETIRED. The only number you need to know for money, 931-RETIRED. We'll be back in a minute.
You've got questions. We've got answers. This is The Word on Wealth with Gary Quackenbush of GQ Law. Gary's here to give you peace of mind with expert estate planning, trust administration, inheritance, and probate. Call Gary to build, protect, and transfer your wealth. 855-500-TRUST. GQLaw.com. You're saving and investing for the future, and that's good. Have you ever stopped to think?
Yeah, they had a best of in from last week, and I have no idea why. So I had to fix that on the fly.
Wow. I don't understand this one thing. The money that you're saving for retirement helps fund the abortion industry as well as other liberal anti-family causes.
I keep me on my toes the last couple of days, apparently.
Well, it's funny because the best of was a Friday show.
Probably also didn't.
Yeah, that's because that was the last time there was a best of was on Friday. So that was the one that was loaded.
Yeah, that's weird.
About your own investment mix, then the choice is yours.
Okay, that's why I pay attention.
Thank you.
We also are fiduciary investment advisor representatives. That means that our firm makes a pledge to always act in your best interest. Go to BibleSafeInvesting.com, download a free copy of my book, Faith-Based Investing, or call me at 931-RETIRED. And please don't forget, listen to Faith-Based Investing this weekend right here on Family Talk.
Gary, your team at GQ Law are experts at solving IRS and
what was funny is I didn't even see it in there because on last
a friend about this broadcast outreach.
And now for the live Thursday show.
Gary Quackenbush, GQ Law. Call or click to request your free initial consultation or to talk with a member of the team. Call Gary at 855-500-TRUST. GQLaw.com.
You're live.
Right. So the question for Anthony Wright, you guys, we have Anthony Wright here. You want to call 888-344-1170. You can call and get your question into Anthony. And I know some of my clients have said, hey, when you're on the air with Anthony, ask him this or ask him that. And I say, ask him yourself, not to be mean, but I go, ask him yourself. He's got a great team. Just call. It's seriously. I mean, I'm using, I've had different advisors. I couldn't be happier. With Anthony, it's been good. A lot of very attentive. So just call. It's 931 retired. It's probably a super easy number to remember also. Okay. So the one thing, Anthony, I wanted to go over with you, we're talking about managing risk. We're talking about, doing well when the market goes down. And I want you to explain that a little bit more to our listeners so we can understand it. When the market, because you were saying, gosh, over the last times you've been on, it's like there are ways that even if the market drops, you can make money. And you were talking about the devices and things to protect you from risk and that make it so that even if a market goes down, there's possibility of making money. Can you talk through that a little bit for us?
Yeah. So a lot of times people, just common folk that are not in the investing market every day, they don't realize that you can make money when the market drops. The majority of the people think that the market has to go up in order for you to make money. Now, some of that is because in general, we are optimistic people. So we want to always hear good news and we want to always see things going up. And when we log in and check the stock market, we don't want to see red. We want to see green. So a lot of it is just kind of people in general. But inside the world of investing, we can short the market. We can do a place a put call on a stock. There's things like that we can do that if the market were to go down, you actually make money. So people say, well, why do you do that? Because then you're making money on bad news. You're making money on bad, when something bad happens. Well, I mean, I guess you'd be assuming that something bad would have to happen in order for that stock to go down. But I would prefer to call it wisdom and just knowing that if this stock drops, we're going to make money. So it's really, to me, it's about wisdom and it's about knowledge. The stock market in general, Gary, is a crapshoot. I mean, there's no other way to say that. That is just the honest to God truth. It's a crapshoot. Nobody knows if it's going to go up. Nobody knows if it's going to go down. Now, we have charts and we have data and we have analytics and we have history and we have all kinds of stuff like that as professionals because we're in the market all the time. So we can place some stop losses, which means if we think the market's going to go up and it turns and goes down, that stop loss will catch us. So on a professional side of things, we do stuff like that helps out and that we're able to do things that the common person isn't. So when they join with us, they're getting that institutional advice. And there's a lot of times that we will place a put in someone's account. And we have been known to short a stock because we have reason to believe something's going to happen and it's going to go down. And when it does, they make money. So if you're our client and you're listening today and you see the stock market is down, don't panic because it's possible we had a put in place and you actually made money instead of lose money.
Perfect. Thank you. Now, if we are looking, so let's look at, and I'm just kind of, I go into my stock portfolio, I look what's going on. It's not just one line that says Gary's stuff and it goes red or green and moves all around. There's a lot in there. Each item that's in the portfolio, each item could be, a different, so you could have a stock that's performing well in this market, some that aren't. And so the puts and calls, it's not like your whole entire account is in a put or you're doing it short. There's different you may in my own portfolio put a put in my portfolio, but that's a piece of it, not the whole portfolio, right?
That's right. Exactly.
Okay. So the thing I think that I'm understanding about this, and that's what I want my listeners to understand, is that there are different kinds of things, devices, opportunities, equities and whatever. There's all these different devices that have the ability to make money in different ways. And the idea of an active manager is to figure out the puzzle on which way they would fit together best. And you're not putting everything, quote, all of your eggs in one basket. You are doing all these different baskets because they perform differently under different markets. And so that's how you keep and manage some of the risk. Okay.
That's right. Yes, now, that is exactly right.
Now I had I was at on a seminar, and they were talking about the best thing ever is the Delaware statutory trust. And I know those are all to deal with 1031 exchanges and that type of thing. I wanted to ask about, with like an investment portfolio, is it possible, like in this overall investment portfolio, to have not only equities like stocks and things like that and mutual funds, but that you could have actual like metals, or that you could have maybe REITs or Delaware statutory trusts? Are those other things that we find in some portfolios?
Yes, that can be. REITs are not a bad thing as long as they're publicly traded REITs. You just don't want private REITs.
Okay, because there's no liquidity in private REITs, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So you got to be careful with REITs.
Yeah, just what happens is if somebody gets excited about something, like you go to a seminar or a convention and somebody's there going, REITs, DST, this is the best things ever. You don't know about this? Oh my gosh, you're not into REITs. And they start talking about not even publicly traded stuff. They start talking about these private REITs. And it's like, it's the best thing since sliced bread. And oh my gosh, and here's my beautiful brochure. And I think some people get caught up in that. Because I do meet people in my world where they say, oh yeah, I'm into a REIT. And I look at it and I go, that's interesting. I haven't seen that one before. How does that work? Into these interesting investments, and they're putting them in their portfolios that eventually it's going to be in their kids' laps. But I'm always a little concerned about people that are kind of like, I'm going to buy this thing over here because somebody said it was cool. I'm putting it in my portfolio, and there's no overall manager. Can you give us some statistics or thoughts on the advantages of having somebody managing your portfolio rather than kind of doing it yourself?
Yeah, the statistics really, Gary, are through the roof. Somebody tries to build their own portfolio, do it on their own, would kind of be the equivalent of me trying to build my own house, or me trying to install my own swimming pool in my backyard in ground pool, right? It's the whole reason, like, I popped the hood on my pickup truck. I'm lost. I mean, now you can't even change spark plugs. you know? So that's kind of the equivalent of trying to invest on your own. And over the past 15 years, I've had a lot of different people that they'll say, well, I did it on my own. I'm just a do-it-myself investor, and I made 34% last year. And I'm like, well, that's great. I made 84%. So I've never had a do-it-yourselfer. I've never had a do-it-yourself investor even come close to beating me. None. And it's because there's just too much out there. There's just too much going on that people hear this, they hear that, and they react to this emotion, they react to that emotion. And then, every now and then they might get lucky, so to speak, and hit a double, or hit a single, So they might get lucky every now and then, but overall, you've really got to have that professional money manager that knows how to go in there and place puts when puts need to be placed, place calls when the market's going to go up, short the market if you need to short the market, put stop losses in place just in case, that we're wrong. We think it's going to go up, but it really don't. It goes against us and goes down. That is why you need a professional money manager with a fiduciary responsibility to do what's in the best interest of the client.
Okay, excellent. Now, one more question, and I appreciate your patience with me and asking all my questions. I know you like it. So my next question on this is, if I am, so let's say I'm you, the market. Well, let me kind of rephrase that. Is part of the reason that you want an experienced professional fiduciary money manager because he or she can see things in the market that I can't, or there's more things that are available that are not available to me. You know, maybe I log on to I can go to Google and say what stocks are doing good and buy them, or I can go on there. There's like the Motley Fool and they say it's our recommended stock for the day. It's like, oh, I can do that. I can buy this and that. But it seems to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, that the person that's in the business doing this all day long, it's not going to be, this is our favorite stock for the day. These are the 14 different things that happened in the last hour that might make a difference. And you might want to do this and that. It just seems like to a guy like me, if I'm trying to do it myself, I can get completely overwhelmed with all that's going on because I don't know what I'm doing. I don't understand all the nuance. So I kind of stick to what's the retailers are telling me. This is the stock you should buy. You should consider these. I've got this investment magazine. It says these 3 things, but it seems to me like by the time I respond to something in an investment magazine, it's like, oh, well, you didn't respond fast enough. It's like, what? Every time? Well, yeah. Sorry, it's in a magazine. I would go, wait a minute, Gary, duh.
Exactly.
It's published.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
It's old.
Yeah. And see, people don't understand. That's the issue. You have to understand when someone writes a newsletter, that's their opinion. They're giving you their opinion. Now, what you don't know, I'm not saying if it is, I'm not saying if it isn't. I'm just telling you the truth the way it is. But let's just assume one of the newsletter comes out and says, Microsoft is a buy right now at $43 a share. If you can get in at
a minute,
jump in. Well, my experience in reading all those newsletters, you get on, it's already at 47 and they're saying buy at 43. Well, how do you know that newsletter writer didn't have Microsoft stock and they just wrote that letter to drive the price of the stock up to make their pockets filthy rich, and you didn't. Right.
And now I've got to try and figure out, wait a minute, if he said 43 and that was a little while ago, so 47 must still be good, right? I'm getting it in right as it falls. Now
and then it falls. Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
No, I just think, that's why we're doing this is radio. It's like instantaneous. You guys are getting information. Anthony is good about taking calls. I mean, I will admit, I haven't had anybody that's this responsive ever. It's fun to hear people go, gosh, his company's great. And we love his people. It's just fun. So anyway, call Anthony 931 retired. Anthony, thank you so much for taking part of your day. Keep spreading the word, brother, and keep us all making money.
Yes, sir. Say hello to your lovely wife for me.
All right. Same to you. Thanks, Anthony.
See you, bud.
All right, David. We'll be back at the bottom of the hour right here on the Word on Wealth.
You don't need to know everything. You just need to know where to find answers you can trust when you need them. Welcome to the Word on Wealth with Gary Quackenbush. We are here to help you build, protect, and transfer everything you've worked.
Yeah, if you want to figure something out, I mean,
855-500-TRUST, or go online and download Gary's free ebooks and videos. Read Gary's blogs. Call or click to request your free consultation or to talk with a member of the GQ team. That's gqlaw.com. 855-500.
You're live.
Managing risk. Everything in life, I believe, there's two things. It's about managing relationships and enjoying them, making them great, and managing risk. When we talk about managing risk, which is what we're going to do for the next half hour, I'd love to hear how you in your life manage risk. Financial risk, physical risk, emotional risk, whatever is fine. I'm going to talk specifically about financial risk having not to do with investments, because that's Anthony's job, but managing risk, because I believe that that is what's really critical. Okay, so what I mean by managing risk is if I'm getting in my car and I want to manage my risk, I can do a bunch of things, right? What would they be? I'd love to have you guys all here in an auditorium. I really would. And have people throw out ideas. So that would be cool. So I'm imagining you're saying, you can put on your seatbelt. Okay. You could obey traffic laws. All right. You could make sure you watch your mirrors. Okay. Somebody might say you should get an autonomous car. Okay. Or you should listen to the alarms and buzzers on your car. My wife's got one of those cars where it's beeping and making these different sounds based on somebody's next to you, or you've turned your blinker on and you know, whatever, and it tries to keep you in the lane. Not like an automatic car, but it has all these warnings. And I think, you know, so what's a good way to manage risk is leave your warning sensors on, because you can turn them off if you want. But I think that's the way of managing risk. So if you notice, as you're managing risk and you're reducing risk, you may think, I'm not a risky person. And I'll have people that come in and talk to me and they'll say that, you know, I'm really conservative. I'm not a very risky person. And we're talking specifically about estate planning. Well, tell me what you have. Let's talk about your estate. Do you have a house, or are you buying a house? Yes, get those information. Okay. Do you have any investments, like in a retirement account, IRA, 401k, 403b? Yes, I do. And then we talk about that. Do you have any money in the stock market, like mutual funds, money market accounts, or brokerage account? Yeah, I have some money there too. Okay. Do you have life insurance? No. Do you have car insurance? Yes. How much? Oh, I don't know. Okay. Do you have house insurance? Yeah. How much? I don't know. How much cash do you have in the bank? Oh, I don't know. $20,000. So I kind of go through that conversation, figure out where people are with things. And I say, let's talk about risk. What is the risk, or what are the chances of you dying? What percentage? It's 100. Okay. Obviously. What are the chances in percentages that you would become disabled or incapacitated sometime in your life for at least 90 days? And the answer would be, I don't know. But the answer is over 70%. So what's happening is that we all have a 70% chance of becoming incapacitated for some period of time in our life. And it may be it for over 90 days. So it may be 90 days. It may be for the rest of our life, maybe a year. I had a client that they had come into me, and the husband got a cancer on his head. It was really odd, but because it involved his brain, it made it so that he became incapacitated. He couldn't see well enough to drive. He could see, but things were kind of messed up. And his response times dropped because of this cancer that was kind of eating him up. And as a result, he was incapacitated. He couldn't make legal decisions. He didn't look right. I mean, if you were asking him questions, he's not answering the right questions. And it was really sad. So his wife brought him in to talk to me. I said, I'm sorry. And he's incapacitated. I mean, there's no way he's going to make any legal decisions. Let's look at what you've got. She had a power of attorney, which was fantastic. Okay. So the power of attorney let her, it was limited power of attorney, which I thought was even better. The limited power of attorney gave her the authority to transfer money from their personal accounts into the living trust. And so she did that. So I told her, if you do that, all that money is going to be in your living trust. What's the advantage? The advantage is if it's in your living trust, that account can now be managed by one or the other. The thing with California community property law is if there's a home sale or something like that, both of you have to sign it. And if it's a bank account in just his name, normally you'd be able to spend that money. But if it's in just his name, in this case, the incapacitated husband, she had no access to it anymore. So she was able to move that money into the trust, get it all into the trust. Now, if they put it in the trust ahead of time, that would have been even better. But that power of attorney, that limited, durable power of attorney, let her move money into that bank account, and then she could manage it. So the thing about it is, if he had died, she had a trust in place and she had a will, but he didn't die. And in fact, it was about a year later, she called me and said that her husband was now fine, that they'd beat the cancer, that it had gone away, and he was in remission. And as a result, it wasn't addling his brain any longer, and he was fully functioned. I got to talk to him because he was a client of mine from many years earlier, and I was super happy that we got the estate plan right for incapacity by having that healthcare power of attorney in there, and then the durable financial power of attorney that let his wife put money in the bank that wasn't already there. So it's really good to have those two things together. And I always do those now for every client. I always make sure they have a valid, durable power of attorney and that they have a valid healthcare power of attorney. Okay, so on that thread, I was healthcare power of attorney. I want to talk about what they can and cannot do. I got a notice from Kaiser a couple of, it's been weeks, and they keep reminding me. They say, hey, Gary, we want you to update your healthcare power of attorney with us. Well, I look, and there isn't one lodged. There's no record of a healthcare power of attorney with me and Kaiser. I've got a healthcare power of attorney. I did it myself. I shouldn't say that. I had my attorney do it for me. Okay, so what Kaiser wants me to do is to log in and put in my, who's my healthcare agent? That's Cheryl. And who's the alternate? Well, that's going to be Bob. And who's the alternate? That would probably be Lorraine, or my daughter Bree would probably be my alternate agent now that she lives by. But I name the agents. I name my, do you want to be on life support? All that. Kaiser has that, and it's really great. Okay. It could be online. It's all available. Now, if I'm in the hospital, doctor's office, I can look at it and say, oh, okay, well, if we mess something up, just unplug him. I'm kidding. But it at least states my desires and what I want, and it's done by me, and Kaiser has it and all that stuff. Okay. And obviously they can identify me. Okay. Now, I did run into a situation now where a client was trying to get information and trying to use a healthcare power of attorney. And what the healthcare power of attorney does is, it specifically, the document I use is an American Medical Association approved form. And what it does is it says who your power of attorney is. Okay. For example, let's just say it's my daughter, Bree. So Bree's my healthcare power of attorney. It gives her the authority under the Health Insurance Privacy and Portability Act, HIPAA. It gives her the authority to access my medical records. So it lets her get confidential and private information from my healthcare providers, whether it's the doctor, nurse, the hospital, whatever. It gives her the authority to access that information. She has to have that ability to be able to talk to the doctors. And then 3, it says what my desires are. Now, I could have just left it at that and said, here, you have healthcare power of attorney. You make all the decisions that you want. But the rest of it is a physician's directive. It's saying, this is what I want. So healthcare power of attorney person, my agent, we call them, agent, these are your guidelines. If I'm in an irreversible coma, if I'm in a vegetative state, I don't want life support because it's just not helping. Okay. I want to donate my organs. I want to be, do I want to be buried or cremated? Do I want autopsy or not? Those things are all the guidance and direction that I do in my power of attorney. It is a healthcare power of attorney. The intention is not to use that document to go and get records, to go to the hospital and say, hey, I want the doctor's notes on this, or I want the medical records on that. That's not the intention. Okay. Potentially it would allow that, but that's not the intention. That's not why we do that document. We do that document so that you have enough information to talk to the doctors and medical care professionals and access records, not to go in and collect the records and go home and read them. So the healthcare, a lot of what we do in the legal world is get documents that are for an intended purpose, not a general blanket purpose, but an intended purpose. So healthcare power of attorney is really important. Even if your insurance, Kaiser, Blue Cross, Blue Shield, whatever you have, Scripps Health, UCSD, whatever, even though they have like maybe an electronic record of what you wanted, I believe you need to have a written power of attorney because sometimes you have to haul it around with you. What if you are in a facility that is not at Kaiser because you're in an assisted living or a care facility or an emergency room somewhere else? Who has to make those decisions with you? Well, if you have your healthcare power of attorney with you, then it shows who your agent is. Or if your agent has it with them, then they can exercise that option and do what you want them to do. But if it's just online on record with Kaiser, that's the only place that's going to be good. So you still need the paper one. Okay, what I want to talk about next is other things about power of attorneys, but I want you to all get a healthcare power of attorney. Look at your power of attorney. If it was done before 2015, it's got to be redone. And that's because the Obamacare law changes with HIPAA. You're listening to The Word on Wealth with Gary Quackenbush, and we'll be right back. Call me 855-500-TRUST.
You've got questions. We've got answers. This is The Word on Wealth with Gary Quackenbush of GQ Law. Gary's here to give you peace of mind with expert estate planning, trust administration, inheritance, and probate. Call Gary to build, protect, and transfer your wealth. 855-500-TRUST. GQlaw.com.
Gary, how do you and your team help our listeners avoid probate?
Well, first of all, probate is a process that involves attorneys, judges, and sometimes contesting parties. And so we try to avoid probate at pretty much all costs. The way we do that is setting up living trusts, setting up properly documented wills, putting the property like houses, cars, bank accounts in that trust so that it avoids probate. Probate is only necessary if the estate plan isn't set up quite right. So we help them get it set up right. And mainly that's done through a properly created living trust.
Call Gary and the team at GQ Law, 855-500-TRUST, or go online and download Gary's free ebooks and videos. Read Gary's blogs. Call or click to request your free initial consultation. That's gqlaw.com, 855-500-TRUST.
Oil investments involve a high degree of risk and actual results may vary.
Oil and natural gas
Call or click to request your free initial consultation or to talk with a member of the team. Call Gary at 855-500-TRUST. GQlaw.com.
You're live.
Managing risk. We're trying to make it so that you aren't at risk when you die. Now, I'm saying that backwards. That's not because I'm an attorney, which we always say things backwards. But what you're really doing is you're managing the risk of leaving your family stranded or causing them a lot of heartache after you pass away. It's really common for my clients to come in and say, what I want to get done, Gary, is I want to make this easy for my family. When I die, and I understand there's a 100% chance of that because I heard you say that on the radio. When I die, I want things to go smoothly. How can I get that accomplished? We talk about what assets you have and your goals. And then I can tell you what's the best way to get there. And I'll give you different options. And you may say, Don't like that. Too expensive. What else can I do? So we can go through different options on getting to the point where when you die, that things will be as smooth as possible. It's never smooth, you guys. It's just not. When you die, it's just not. Things happen. But we got to do the best we can to get it so that there's no legal complications, there's no legal entanglements, and that things move smoothly and go where you want. Okay. That's the goal. Now, if we're talking about risk management, with healthcare is the big thing, because that's while you're alive. That's the incapacity potential. If you're incapacitated, somebody needs to make your medical decisions for you. That's the healthcare power of attorney, and it needs to be updated. If it's older than 2015, it may not be valid anymore. It may not comply with the law, and it may work, it may not. But I told somebody today, yesterday, do you really want to? It may work, it may not, or would you like me to say, you know what, this will work? I know it will. I've tested it. Okay. So the next is the financial power of attorneys. And you've heard me talk about this a lot. I am not a big fan of a general durable power of attorney. And that is, it's a power of attorney that it's durable, which means it lasts even after you're incapacitated. So if you're totally healthy and all that stuff, it's still valid. It works. So if you hand it to somebody who is designated as the power of attorney, they can go do what they want with that power of attorney. And you can stop them if you can figure out what they're doing. But it might be too late because legally you've given them the authority to make transactions on your behalf. General durable power of attorneys are really, really powerful. The next thing is going to be durable. Now, durable means it works even if you're incapacitated. All power of attorneys, almost every power of attorney has to be durable because the bank institution, whoever's honoring that power of attorney, doesn't want to have to determine whether you have the capacity or not. Because if you don't, if you lack capacity, then the power of attorney stops working. So that means you're giving a power of attorney to a financial institution saying, hey, I'm the power of attorney and I want to make this withdrawal. And they go, oh, wait, we have to have proof that Gary is not incapacitated. It's like, well, how do I do that? You can bring him in here and we'll talk to him. Well, then why do you need a power of attorney? I know, right? So power of attorneys are durable. Durable power of attorney. You could do a springing power of attorney, which says once you prove incapacity, then you can use the power of attorney. So those work too. It's a little safer. And that would mean that you have 2 letters from physicians that knew what they're doing, that are in the industry, that declared and certified that the person lacks the capacity to make any legal or financial decisions. And you have the letters of incapacity, the 2 of them with that springing durable power of attorney, and then the possibilities that you could use that. Okay. I just don't like general power of attorneys. I've said that 100 times. There are ways around it. If your estate plan is done right, if it's funded properly, it's not going to be something that's necessary to do a general durable power of attorney. Use limited ones. The next thing that we want to make sure of is that that all of your property is like tucked into your trust. It's just in there. Okay. An issue came up where the situation was interesting. And that was, I said, you need to put all your property in the trust. You need to take your house that's in Montana, and that needs to be in your trust. So they live here in California and they have a house in Montana. And I did their estate plan. And I said, your house in Montana should be in your trust. I know it's a California trust. I know you live in California, but you own a property in Montana and it should be in your trust. Because when you die, your property is here, your estate is here, your people are here. And that means that they need control over that Montana property to sell it or transfer it or transfer it to an heir rather than sell it. But they need to be able to make those legal decisions. And as a result, the only way a trustee can make legal decisions about any property is that property needs to be part of the trust. And that is done with real property by deeding property to the trust. So I was called out on that a little bit. And that is, an attorney from Montana said, well, it's, there's recording fees. It's like $450 for recording fees here in Montana. I can't remember the number, but it was high enough for the client said, I'm not going to do that. That's ridiculous. It's too expensive. I'm not going to do it. What's the effect of that, Gary? And my response was simply, I'm not worried about cost so much as I'm worried about getting it right. You're trying to make it smooth for your beneficiaries, for your heirs. And that is going to require that you transfer the property to the trust. Well, then I got a response from that person's attorney that said, I think that's true, but I'm working with somebody in California and the client has died. And now I'm working with somebody specifically to get that house put into the trust, and we can put it into the trust after the person dies. I know it's allowable. I know you can do it. So you may not need to do the deed. You may not need to deed the Montana property into the trust. Well, my response to that, you can imagine, like, really? I didn't say really, but the procedure. So I started to explain the procedure. If the creator of the trustor, if they fail to put their property, like their real estate, if they fail to deed it into the trust and they list it on their Schedule A that says, yeah, my property in Montana belongs to this trust, then yes, we could, if it's described properly, we can go to court after you die. We can go to probate court and ask a judge to determine that that property was intended to be put into the trust. It's just that the trust creator, the trustor, they just failed to do it. So judge, we believe it was supposed to be there because it says on this document, we'd like you to put it in the trust. And the judge will say, usually, okay, I'm ordering that property is now part of the trust. Okay, cool. So it is true. A lot of times it can be done after the fact. But why would I advise you to do something, to mess something up now on purpose, to not do it correctly now, to intentionally do it wrong, which is not doing it? Because I know in the back of my mind, procedurally, you can correct it later. That just seems too much to stomach. Okay, do it right and don't think about it anymore. So yeah, it's true. You can just put everything on your Schedule A and then die. And then we can go to probate court and we can get the court to determine that all of your assets should be in the trust. And maybe we can avoid a full probate and we could just do these little small Hegstead petitions. So instead of spending $30,000 or $40,000, maybe we're only going to spend $10,000 or $15,000. But folks, aren't we doing an estate plan? Aren't we giving a living trust together so that we can have a smooth transition to our kids, to our heirs without probate? So then let's not plan on requiring probate because we just don't want to spend the money to fund it. You're going to spend the money getting the trust done. You're going to spend the time, get it done right. Pay for the deeds, get it done. Don't be worried about the costs. We'll be careful with costs, but sometimes you got to spend a little bit of money so that you can make that transmission smooth. And we can do that for you. 855-500-TRUST. The other thing I think that has to do with the funding, and I'm going to do more of this when we talk next week, is I'm going to talk about like putting specific assets into a trust and what does that mean? Because sometimes that gets confusing. And I've been accused of talking too fast, so I'll try to say it a couple of times and not be so fast so that we can all get it and make sure our stuff is properly funded. The big thing for me is going to be a company. Like if you own part of something, let's say you own a limited liability company, or a corporation, or a partnership, or you're part of, or you have a sole proprietorship, or maybe you have an interest in a Delaware statutory trust, or maybe it's a non-publicly traded REIT or something like that. And I'm not saying those are good things. Okay, they just happen. People have stuff like that. Maybe you inherited it from your dad, and you're going, oh, I guess I'll keep it in the DST. Those are things that can be put into your trust if it's done right. If you have a business, my pet peeve, my big thing is if you have a business and there's any liability exposure at all, you got to have it in an LLC or a corporation. Why, Gary? Because I just got my notice at my home that my umbrella policy that covers my home and my car and my boat and my stuff, and it covers it so that I have enough coverage so that if I get into a car accident or somebody breaks their neck on my property, that they're going to be covered. And there's really high limits on it based on, value of property. Just got notice from my insurance umbrella company. Just so you know, we're happy to renew your umbrella. However, as of whatever it is, November 1st, it will not cover vehicle accidents. And I thought, are you kidding me? So my umbrella policy is saying, yeah, we'll insure you. We just won't insure you for vehicle accidents. or harassment or intention. I'm going like, really? So the insurance companies, you guys, they're pulling back. They're insuring less and less. You've got to take your own independent action. Get an LLC, get a corporation, and actually maintain it. Annual minutes of an LLC, annual minutes of a corporation, and do it year after year after year to get yourself some additional protection. All right, we're going to be talking about that more coming up next on the Word on Wealth. That's going to be tomorrow. We got the Finding Joy Friday. We'll be back with our guests. And I'll talk to you tomorrow, everybody. Goodbye. Have a great afternoon on the Word on Wealth.
Tell a friend about the Word on Wealth, featured since 1995, with financial solutions attorney Gary Quackenbush, an expert in estate planning, wills and trusts, and tax problem solving. Gary is past president of the California Society of Tax Consultants. Reach out to us. The Word on Wealth team of financial experts is here to answer your questions and help preserve your family's financial future.
The information you hear on the Word on Wealth is for general information purposes only. This program discusses general financial and legal topics.